Hello, boys and girls. Today I'm going to be reading from my first book, Holy Water, Book 1. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. The name of this poem is called In God We Trust and in Jail We Fail. Okay? This is for the brothers who want to be hard, from the streets of New York to the California Boulevard. This is what happens when your girl gets knocked up, when you're out doing crimes and you get locked up. How are you going to be a father to your kid when you send up the river to do a 10-year bid? How are you going to teach your son to be a man when you're dehumanized and locked in a can, caged like an animal by a man with a gun, instead of being a daddy to your son? How are you going to learn about the golden rule with no lunch money or no clothes to wear to school? It's not fair that your family's catching hell while you're rotting in a jail cell, sitting there collecting dust because you can't make bail. In God we trust and in jail we fail. Now what happens to your woman or your wife? You left her alone to fight for her life, with nothing to fight with, no fortune or wealth, no one to depend on but God and herself. She has to struggle to make it to survive on her own. Never dare rest until her children are grown. Just when she thinks her job is done, she becomes a grandma. It's back to square one. What will she tell her kids when they ask, where are you? Should she say locked up for doing crimes with your crew? Should she tell them you alive when they start to cry? Everybody's got a daddy but them, and they're wondering why. There's nothing they can do, nothing you can say. They can't afford to come see you on Father's Day. The only way they must contact you is by mail. In God we trust and in jail we fail. Well, you must realize it didn't have to be this way. All you had to do was get on your knees and pray. Be patient and wait. The Lord would have provided, but a life of crime is the one you decided. The race is not given to the swift or the strong, but the one who endures, that's the one who lasts long. When you get out of jail, you end up going back again. Another correctional facility or state pen. A repeat offender, known as a recidivist, often referred to as gorillas in the mist. You fit the description of a suspect or perpetrator. When you're an ex-con, employers say, see you later. You live a life of crime. You have a criminal mind. Is criminal activity the only work you can find? Another cop made a bust, and while he's telling his tale, in God we trust, and in jail we fail. But what about your cute baby daughter? You left her alone in shark-infested water. Now someone else is buying her things you should have bought her and teaching her things you never would have taught her. Now she's calling some other brother dad. It won't be surprising if she turns out bad. How close will he get to her? You know he's gonna test her. If he gets a chance, he might try to molest her. But that's the destiny you left her to face. Tell me what'll save her? Only God's grace. You should have been there to love and protect her, to teach her how to make everybody respect her, to tell her premarital sex leads to teen pregnancies, to show her how to control her adolescent tendencies, not just satisfying lust, but to overcome and prevail. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. Look at your son. He looks just like you, and everybody says he wants to be like you too. He always heard them saying how you were such a gangster. The kid is always playing. He's such a prankster. His mama can't control him. You're not there to school him. So now the streets and the gang members rule him. He's under the influence of negativity. He'll never ever be what he was meant to be. He'll never be a judge, a doctor, or a lawyer. He'll always carry a grudge and learn to be a destroyer. He'll always feel cheated and always wonder why. He never got to taste his piece of the pie. And even if he gets to taste the crust, it's all moldy and stale. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. So there's your son with a pistol in his hand. He thinks he knows it all, but he doesn't understand. He thinks he has to steal and sell drugs to pay the rent. That's why the black jail cells number 69%. You weren't there to teach him how to be a real man, so now he's selling guns and drugs, doing the best he can. Thinks he's got it going on because he's cold getting paid. Thinks that he's the man because every night he's getting laid. You can only hope someone told him about AIDS. He dropped out of school because he couldn't make the grades. No matter how much his mom fussed, he'll never graduate from Harvard or Yale. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. So listen to me close. This is the end of my tale. This is what happens when black fathers go to jail. When you're not around, the whole family suffers. Life is hard enough. Why do you have to make it tougher? You can't help them while you're rotting in a jail cell, doing hard time while your family's catching hell. Maybe if you tried a little bit harder to get an education, we could stop the cycle and avoid this situation. You shouldn't have to steal to make a living selling drugs. Your children wouldn't be like you and hang out with thugs. 90% of black fathers who went to college are successful, productive, and their children seek knowledge. What about the brothers who ended up in jail? Some outlived their children. Some watched their children fail. Like father, like son, that's the law of the land. Your kids are going to suffer unless you take a stand. Be a good role model, someone your kids can look up to. Everybody needs a hero. Why not let it be you? It's time for black fathers to accept responsibility. It's up to them to teach their children to be free of oppression, depression, and misery, free of mental slavery, and yes, drug-free. It rains on the just and the unjust, and through the snow, the sleet, and the hail. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. In God we trust, and in jail we fail. Okay, that's my poem, In God we trust, and in jail we fail. From me, A.D., the anointed disciple, coming to you with true knowledge straight from the Bible for your survival in the last days and time. Sent here to preach the word in my rhyme, because it's time for preparing the way for the Savior. He's already saved me. I'm just returning the favor, bringing mad flavor from the only one who can change your behavior and teach you to love your neighbor and provide all the things for which you labor, the things you savor, the things you desire, to help you acquire the fire to once again be inspired and to aspire to go higher in the Lord. All aboard. You better be ready to go when that sweet chariot swings low. And don't forget your lovely parting gifts at the door after this show. I love you all. Bye-bye now.